Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm Lisa Oligas. In this edition, we explore the world of the Civil Air Patrol, a group that performs search and rescue missions, provides communication networks during disasters, and even does aerial photography. The official auxiliary of the United States Air Force, the Missouri Wing has headquarters in Whiteman Air Force Base and consists of more than 800 cadet and adult members at 28 locations in the state, and that includes Joplin, which has 50 members. Joining us today to talk about the local squadron and its effort is Lieutenant Colonel Jared Horn. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
This is wonderful. So the Civil Air Patrol has existed for at least 50 years, but there are likely many people who are not aware of what it is and, more importantly, about your mission. So it is a congressionally mandated group. Tell us a little bit about the history of the group.
So we started right after World War II, and it was a coastal patrol. So they had German U-boats around in our coast, and they got civilians, air pilots, to patrol our borders. So that's how we started, and that's kind of morphed into our emergency services mission. And now we, in addition to the emergency services, we have cadet programs and aerospace education.
Yeah. So in Joplin, it is called the Colonel Travis Hoover Composite Squadron. How many members? I kind of mentioned some. Are they retired Air Force? Are these people who just like flying? So
not the majority. So some are retired Air Force, just retired military in general. So you don't have to be in the military or ever in the military. I wasn't myself. So, and we're not all pilots either. So there's a handful of us that are of our group that are pilots, but there's a lot of things to do with the cadets and with emergency services that do not involve flying.
Yeah, so let's talk about, we mentioned you respond in disasters, you do a lot of search and rescue, and of course Joplin is no stranger to disaster with the tornado. Let's talk about what was some of the involvement of the Civil Air Patrol after the big tornado.
So we had a fairly new commander at the time and didn't have contacts locally. And if you were here during the tornado, there were so many volunteers that came to help, and the city and even FEMA had a hard time managing all of the volunteers. The Civil Air Patrol never did anything official in Joplin, at least the Joplin squadron didn't. We flew some medicine at one point from St. Louis, but just so happened the week, maybe 2 weeks before the tornado, a large number of us, maybe 10 of us, did the CERT training at the airport, and the involvement that we had, myself included, was through community emergency response teams.
So what kind of things, what did that mean? I mean, how were you, then you went out into the field? Yeah,
so the day of the tornado, my wife and I and my kids were safe, and we knew that they needed help, and I just received that training. So my son and I went out and to the scene, and it was hard to find anything, if you remember, but we found a group of police officers and firemen, and I just worked with them. We went house door to door.
Yeah. So I mentioned aerial photography. How can the Civil Air Patrol be a help, like during flooding and other kinds of disasters?
Yeah, photography is a big thing that we can do, searching for missing people, searching for damage are things that we do on a regular basis, more so than downed airplanes. It used to be downed airplanes a lot, but technology and GPS has taken a little bit of that away, but we can still search for missing people and even aircraft that have an ELT going off.
So CAP was credited with saving 108 lives nationally, which is amazing. Is that kind of a driving factor of why people are willing to serve with this group?
Absolutely, yeah. We want to serve our communities, so that's the way we do it. And the example recently was a missing person in Kansas that we got a call, and we sent a team, and we actually sent a drone team and a ground team to help search for that missing person.
So it talks about aircraft. I mean, is there a plane at the airport? And then you mentioned drones. So what kinds of tools do you have?
A lot. We do have a Cessna 172 at the Joplin Airport hangar there. There's other Cessna 172s and Civil Air Patrol aircraft around. So Springfield, Lebanon, and Branson all have aircraft as well.
And is there a certain reason why these are typically single-engine planes? Are they maybe more maneuverable? I mean, does that make a difference?
I think that's the reason. They're more maneuverable, easier to learn how to fly.
And so let's talk about, are there cameras connected to the planes, or do you have people trained in photography, or is it a combination?
Combination, yeah. We do have some planes outfitted with cameras, but we also have windows designed for handheld cameras in our in the back seat.
How does that photography end up being used? And is it used in multiple ways?
It is, and a really good example would be during hurricanes. And 2 years ago, I think, the ones in Florida, we sent out a drone team, and they have cameras on the drones. So they took hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of pictures with those drones. And we do that with aircraft as well. And they get uploaded to a central site, and our customer, whoever that is, owns those photos, and they will analyze them. And we could help analyze if they ask us to do that.
And does all this new technology, does it make the job easier? I mean, in
It
search and
does.
rescue?
Drones, in particular, lately, it was a challenge for us to integrate drones.
Yeah.
Just like it's a challenge to coordinate ground teams and air crew. We've had a lot of experience doing that, but we're just getting into how do we coordinate with drones. And we have one of the CAP Civil Air Patrol drones in our squadron, and pilots of those drones that are very good. So we have been able to integrate with exercises, search exercises, and like I said, with that missing person, we sent that team, and they were able to search specific areas that ground crew couldn't get to.
Yeah, and that person was found, I take it?
Yes, he was.
Excellent. A great result, yeah. So you talk about, you do train people to use drones, so are there classes that you hold at the airport?
Yeah, right now it's more casual type training for cadets and senior members. They do have certifications that we will help with. One of our members is a faculty here at the college and teaches about drones and how to fly drones. So we get to use him a lot, and he gets people into his classes.
Yeah.
So they get the official training through him.
So how does the Civil Air Patrol work in creating communication networks? Tell us about that part of your job.
Yeah, that's part of our emergency services and the tools that we use. We have repeaters that we can put up in an airplane for missions or exercises, and we have repeaters that are land bound. So we can talk and communicate throughout the state, and even more farther, I guess, with HF radios. So we have, just like we have a large flight of aircraft that's supplied to us through state or national funding, all of our communication equipment is as well. So we use those radios in exercises and in missions all the time.
How can those be so helpful? Like, I mean, it always seems like in a disaster with a tornado, oh, the cell towers get knocked down. Does that is it so helpful that you have a different kind of radio?
Yeah, so absolutely. And we're preparing for an earthquake, let's say, the big New Madrid potential earthquake. And we know that cell towers will be down. Our radio network will survive.
It's important to have some alternate way to communicate.
Correct. Yeah, and we go through all the training and know how we establish a base. Every ground team goes out with a radio. They check in with base, and they get instructions and provide statuses from the ground teams and air crew back to base.
Yeah. So how do your efforts complement the National Guard? Do you ever train with them? I know you mentioned the New Madrid, the possibility of an earthquake.
Yeah. The squadron level does not do a whole lot of coordination with the National Guard. Wing level and national level would and do. So it's the Air Force national level that we have coordination with and liaison with, and state level or wing level has contacts in the National Guard.
Yeah. Let's talk about, how do you, I guess, you meet regularly And how does this kind of the membership kind of get together?
So we meet every week on Tuesday nights, 6:30, usually to 8:30, at the airport. We have the conference room at the old airport.
Yeah.
And we start with an opening, and we have each week we do different things, so we have a schedule that we run through.
Yeah.
Anybody's welcome, and to join, you just show up, and we like you to, before you actually join and sign the application, we like you to have attended 2 or 3 meetings so you know what you're getting into, and that goes for senior members, adults, and cadets.
Yeah, we're going to be joined by a cadet in a moment, but give me an overview about becoming part of the Civil Air Patrol. Like, I mean, who would be interested? Why would this be a thing that some students really might enjoy?
Sure. Serving the community, for me, was a top reason. Learning and seeing children develop into leaders was probably maybe my number one reason with my kids. And learning about aerospace. So if you have any interest in flying or just the aerospace field in general, there's a lot of things you can do more than flying that involves aerospace. So interest in aerospace, wanting to serve the community, and wanting to develop leadership and see leadership being developed.
Excellent. Well, we are going to take a break, but when we come back, we will be joined by Cadet Major Faith Gotzel, the Squadron Cadet Commander, who will share her journey in the Civil Air Patrol and the benefit of the summer encampment as we go to break, where you can learn more about the Civil Air Patrol. Welcome back to Newsmakers, where we are learning all about the Civil Air Patrol, an auxiliary of the U.S. Air Force. Part of its mission is training the next generation interested in aerospace education, and they do that through the cadet program. Joining our conversation is Cadet Major Faith Gotzel, the Joplin Squadron Cadet Commander, and returning with us, Lieutenant Colonel Jared Horn. Faith, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me, why did you want to become part of the Civil Air Patrol? What triggered your interest? And it was years ago now, right?
Yes. I have been in for 4 years almost, and when I was younger I wanted to learn more about flying and aerospace, and I just was curious as to what opportunities a young girl like me could find something to get involved with flying. And so my mother helped me discover Civil Air Patrol, and we looked into it and we found Joplin, and they were the closest squadron to us. And so we started joining a few meetings, and when I first joined, it was still virtual because it was still during COVID. So once my first meeting in person was like maybe my 5th meeting, I'd say, and it was a lot more fun than the virtual meetings, I guess.
I bet. Yes. Well, so you were just 13?
Yes, I was.
So, I mean, what made you think, oh, I want to learn about space? Are you somebody who followed fly? Did you ever be in an airplane? What really kind of triggered it all?
Well, it was actually, I read Amelia Earhart's biography is what triggered it, and it just led me towards the Civil Air Patrol, and that's how I joined.
Well, you seem to be rising quickly through the ranks, and in fact, you did receive the Amelia Earhart Award. Congratulations.
Yes,
Tell us what that stands for, and what does it take to become a cadet major?
Well, it's a very high-ranking position in the Civil Air Patrol. It's one of the last few ranks you can reach as a cadet, and it takes a lot of leadership skills and taking tests and working on papers and lots of diligent study work and lots of learning involved in that.
So are you actually learning then to fly during this whole process?
Yes. Civil Air Patrol gives every cadet about 5 free flights in an airplane, and they also give you opportunities to find other places that will help you get to your private or whatever you're wanting to look forward to in flying, and they will help you reach that goal.
Wow. I even noticed on the website there are opportunities for scholarships and things like that. I'd like to talk to both of you about one of the major trainings, which is the cadet group encampment. So, Lieutenant Colonel Horn, give us an idea, an overall of what the purpose of the encampment is. more than one day. It's not a meeting.
Yeah, it's a full week. It's about students and about the staff. So there'll be an adult staff, the senior member staff, that is just like there for overview, but the actual encampment and the actual running of the encampment is done by the cadet staff. So a big reason for encampment and a big benefit of encampment is we develop those staff, cadet staff. And then the students, they get their week of encampment, and it's what we use for, we know if a cadet as an airman will go into an encampment, they will probably stick around. Mm-hmm. So they learn about the Civil Air Patrol, they learn drill, they meet a lot of people, they learn about fitness, and a lot of the fun of Civil Air Patrol is what you see there, and then it gets even more fun as staff.
Yeah. So, well, Faith, you served as a staff officer in an encampment. So what does that mean? Why was it a good place to experience the thing? I mean, have you done it from both sides? Were you there just as a participant and then eventually became an officer? Did you do it both ways?
Yes, I did. To become a staff, you have to attend an encampment as a student, mm-hmm. and then you can work up, and then the next year you can apply for almost any staff position that you want. There are certain positions that you have to be a certain rank, but the majority of them, it doesn't really matter. I was selected for public affairs, which I took photos of the entire event and videos for the parents, and it was a great opportunity to grow my leadership because I was the officer in charge. I had someone else below me who also helped me, and it was just a great experience, and I feel like it helps grow a cadet's leadership if they attend more than one encampment.
Yeah. As a student who went, I mean, what is the experience like? What are you doing when you go to encampment?
Well, encampment is, for me, it was a little difficult because I was younger. I feel like if I would have been a little older, I would have gotten more out of it because it just depends on your age and your experience, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult and tough, but it is a great learning experience. I learned a lot about Civil Air Patrol when I went, and like Lieutenant Colonel Horn said, we did a lot of drill, and we learned how to properly make our beds and how to wear the uniform properly and respect the uniform, and we also learned how to respect the flag. We raised it every morning and lowered it and folded it, which was, I think, was my favorite part of the encampment. Yes.
So is there, do you do any of the, any kind of mock drills or any kind of mock simulations, or is there anything work in the communication areas so that they learn, maybe how to establish communications?
So as a staff, most of the staff were given radios, and it isn't exactly like a emergency services exercise, but they communicate to each other through the radios. It's really the only way when you're out and about. This last year, they got to go up in a C-130 aircraft. So every student of that encampment got to fly up in a C-130. So that's kind of a simulation. They do different things every year, so you can't guarantee and weather mm-hmm. and all that stuff. But that was scheduled, and some other things were scheduled that didn't get done. And there's an obstacle course that they got to go through. That was a fun day. A lot of neat things. I mean, they have a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we talked about drones earlier. Are you involved in training to use a drone?
Not recently. Mm-hmm. I was for a little bit, but my interest is more towards airplane and becoming a pilot with that. I do have several friends in Civil Air Patrol who are wanting towards that, and one of the lower ranking cadets, he has gotten very far in reaching that. And he's done a great job, and it's all thanks to Civil Air Patrol. I don't think there is any other way he could have done it if he didn't have Civil Air Patrol.
Yeah. What is your goal? Or, they have a mission that is mm-hmm. search and rescue, helping, in emergencies. Do you feel like you have a connection to wanting to serve in that way?
Yes, I do enjoy emergency services, and that is a very big part of one of my goals. And another goal I have that started through Civil Air Patrol was to reach my private pilot's license. And Civil Air Patrol has helped me a lot with that, and several of its members, and they've helped me get scholarships and stuff for that. and I can say that I would not have been able to get this far without Civil Air Patrol.
Yeah. So are you on track to get your license in a couple of years, or do you know?
Right now, I have an instructor with Mizzou Aviation, which is right next to our squadron. They have given me opportunity to fly with them, and my hope is that I can get it by middle of next year.
Excellent. So there's a lot of STEM education that is part of this. Tell us, what do you enjoy about that, and is that something that you work on at the meetings, and how does that have a role in Civil Air Patrol?
We do STEM activities quite often. We didn't used to for a while, but we have about once a month that we do a STEM activity in aerospace or sometimes even in safety. They have different opportunities for us to be able to do that. And we've built rockets was one of them. We did rocketry training a couple of weeks ago, and those cadets are going to earn their rocketry badge because of that, and it's a great opportunity to learn more about aerospace.
Do you think there are not all that many opportunities for maybe science-minded? I mean, does this kind of tap into somebody who might like that part of education?
Yeah, a little bit. It depends on what kind of science, but like the Civil Air Patrol gives opportunities for a number of things, and they will help you no matter what your interest is. Even if it's not quite aligned with what they have, they'll find opportunities for you.
Yeah, and even if someone didn't want to just fly planes, how are the skills that you're learning? You mentioned leadership. How are those going to be beneficial elsewhere in life?
Well, I would say that they help with almost any area of life. The leadership skills I have learned, they have helped me with a number of things, and it's just a great learning opportunity, and I'd say that it's going to help in the future if I attend college, and it just it's just a great learning opportunity.
So you were the first in your family. Now you've kind of gotten others in your family to get involved?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I joined first, and then a little while after that, my older brother decided to join to see what all the excitement was about. And he stayed in for a little bit, but now that he's older, he left because he kind of lost interest. His interest changed a little bit, so he left. And now my younger brother is in Civil Air Patrol with me. He is my flight sergeant, so he helps me lead the cadets in drill and basic respect and that sort of stuff. And my younger brother, he's only 7, but he would like to join when he can too.
So, Lieutenant Colonel, is it quite frequently that families get involved? You mentioned your family as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I joined because my older son joined. We were in Georgia at the time, and just to see the look on his face, the first meeting he went to, they issued him a uniform, and that was the biggest thing ever. He was really less into flying and the aircraft portion and more into leading people. And through him and my middle son and all the cadets that I've experienced, it's just amazing to see. If you're an adult and you want to have confidence that our country is going to be in good hands, come to Civil Air Patrol and see what we do and what the impressive cadets that we have and how we make them into leaders and really good community-minded people.
Yeah. So is there a certain age limit as to when they can start and when they progress?
Yeah, so you can join at 12 as a cadet. 12 to 18 you would have to be a cadet. At 18, you can decide to switch over to a senior member, but you can stay a cadet until you're 21. If you're progressing like Major Gotzel is, you would want to stay till 21 so that you can get that top rank, the Lieutenant Colonel Spots Award. And then after 21, you can. There's 2 tracks as a senior member. You can take the officer track, which is default, but you could also do a NCO track. If you've been in the military and you were an NCO in the military, that's the track for you.
How is this so significant in helping our community? I mean, talk about its role and what you hope it can have some influence in the Joplin area?
Well, I want to see more cadets and more people out in the community with us. The search and rescue is pretty amazing, where you learn how to be a part of a ground team and how to search for whatever it is. It could be a missing person. It could be going out in a field to find damage after a tornado or after an earthquake or hurricane.
And we often hear of senior citizens with dementia maybe
That's
getting
right.
lost.
Yeah.
You know, or children getting lost.
Yeah, and we still, every once in a while, there'll be an ELT from an aircraft that goes off, and most of the time it's a hard landing, and the pilot didn't know, and he put it in the hangar, and the ELT is going off. That's more common lately, but if the plane crashes and nobody knows where you are, we're the people to call. We have ways to find you.
It's exciting stuff. So how can someone get involved, take part, besides just come to a meeting? Or are there other ways to go online and to sign up?
Yeah, you can go online and the GoCivilAirPatrol.com. That's just one word, GoCivilAirPatrol.com. You can find all the information that you can imagine. There's a link in there for I'm interested or how to join. It's just an application. We'll try to hold you off on filling out that application until you've been to a couple of meetings, just so you know what you're getting into. But all are welcome, even if you're a parent of a child or a cadet that wants to, has some interest. We want you there if you're interested.
And I know you have a Facebook page. They can kind of see pictures of what's happening. Faith, just in a nutshell, why has it been a good thing for you? What have you enjoyed about it all?
I've enjoyed most of it. The majority of it has been an amazing opportunity. For me, the most thing that I've enjoyed is the leadership part, because it has helped me not only lead others, but lead myself and grow myself in opportunities that I know that I would not be the person I would be today without Civil Air Patrol.
And once you're a pilot, what do you hope to do?
I've not quite figured out what I'm going to do after I become a pilot, but I want to go to a college that will help me go from private to maybe commercial and have some form of career with flying.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for telling us all about the Civil Air Patrol.
Yep.
Appreciate it. And for sharing that information and serving the community. That wraps up this edition of Newsmakers. Again, if you would like to be part of the Civil Air Patrol, you can attend a meeting Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. at the airport, or check out its website, GoCivilAirPatrol.com. Thanks to our guests for sharing their information, and thank you for watching.